What's good? It's Jordan. Today, I'll be talking to you about awareness as a form of freedom. See, what we have to understand in this life is when we start to become aware, we start to see the world from a different perspective. We start to see the world from a different place and a different spectrum. And we have to understand that when we start to become aware, it isn't going to be easy. It isn't going to be easy for us to live within the confines of society when we see the world and reality for what it is. We have to understand this early because we can get caught up into illusions. And many times in this world, we've been taught to get caught up into fantasies and illusions instead of seeing the world for what it is and instead of seeing reality for what it is. When we live in society with a mind state through fantasy, we can really destroy ourselves because if that fantasy does not come true, or if that fantasy of what we see the world isn't what is actually going on in the world, then we could be very disappointed within ourselves and disappointed within others. We have to understand within society has taught us to not think for ourselves. Society has taught us to not be self aware and aware of what's going on within ourselves and what's going on within the world. Many times we may follow media, platform, and publications and programming, and we may look at things from that perspective. We may follow that perspective through the mainstream media. And the mainstream media has not done anything to help people as a whole. It actually has made it harder for people to be aware. It has made it harder for people to be awakened through what is being pushed in the mainstream media. If we really take the time to really look at what the mainstream media is presenting to us as a whole, it is destructive. It is destructive to self, it is destructive to relationships, social groups, and social settings, and destroying communities all abroad. What we have to understand is when the truth is being presented to us, we have to take the truth for what it is instead of living through a fantasy. We have to understand this. Many of us want to live through a fantasy thinking that it will be our life. And many times we disappoint ourselves when it does not become our life. We have to understand this early and we have to understand this at this moment and this point because if we continue to live like we can live in a fantasy, we will be destroyed. And the best thing that the enemy wants us to do within society is for us to destroy ourselves, for us to not know ourselves, for us to not understand self. When the enemy knows the points that they can destroy us with, the enemy will gauge through those points. We have to understand the plan and plot of the enemy because if we don't understand the plan and plot of the enemy, then we can get caught up into the enemy's trap. What we have to do within ourselves is understand self, understand where our mindsets stem from, and understand how we can destroy the mentality that the media wants to perpetuate in our own personal lives. See, programming is real, especially when you are in society and dealing with other people. You start to see that people have their own biases and their own opinions on who you may be as a person, even before meeting you. You see that people may have their own perspectives on how they feel about different racial groups. You see that people are, as abroad, very judgmental within how they do things and how they live and who they decide that they want to associate themselves with. And in my life, I've saw this many various different times. And I realized that people will be people at the end of the day, and people choose whether they want to be aware of what's going on in society or if they want to be ignorant, so to speak. And many times you may want to try to help those people, but you can't. People are going to just do the things that they want to do. What you can do is remove yourself from those type of people and surround yourself with people who aren't like that because there's going to be people like that in society who think like that, who act like that. And what we have to do is just exile those people away from communities that are actually building, communities that are actually growing and communities that actually want to make a change. Because many times what we've done within society is try to take those ignorant people's opinions and place it at the top of the spectrum and place it at the top of the opinions of people who are actually trying to help the community, who are actually trying to build unity, who are actually trying to build within all of these spectrums within society. Why are we paying attention to the opinions of people who are negative more so than the people who are positive? And I realized that and understood that for many years now. And anyone who is negative, who has a negative opinion based upon me or based upon anything else within society, who have a negative opinion based upon people who are positive or doing anything that's positive, I stay away from those people because they can't help, they can't do anything but just be negative, and they can only pull themselves out of a mentality like that. What we have to do is understand that we have to be aware of those people and remove ourselves from those people, because many times we keep ourselves around people who are negative, and we may hope that those people change, but they won't change. They'll continue doing the same thing, continue having the same opinion, and they'll continue living their life like that. And at the end of the day, if they want to live their life like that, so be it. But I'm not going to get involved with those people, because if you have a mentality like that when you were a child and now you're growing into an adult and you're continuing to grow and you have not made any of those changes from those negative thought patterns, negative opinions, whatever the case may be, and you continue with that mentality, you're always going to be like that. What can I do about it? I can't do anything about it. You know, all I can do is change myself and work on myself. And not to say that I may not have any negative thought processes or negative opinions. I do, but I'm aware of my negative thoughts and my negative opinions. Some people aren't aware of it, and some people choose to be aware of it and choose to keep that negative trait within themselves because they're enlightened by it. So the people who are enlightened by negativity, drama, and all these negative things, stay away from those people because they're not going to help you. They're just going to hinder you. They're just going to stop you from doing what you want to do in your own personal life. They're going to be energy drainers. Anytime you want to do something within your life that's positive or make a change, they're going to be the first ones to try to stop you from doing it. They're going to be the first ones to hate you and try to put an anchor in whatever plans that you have. So it's best that you remain solid within your own self and your own life, and know that if you have to be by yourself and if you have to walk this road by yourself, so be it. It's better than being around people who are going to try to destroy you anyway. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What matters is you, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your financial health. All these things matter. And in this life, there's going to be many various different challenges, especially with dealing with people in society. So we have to put the things that we need to do first within our lives. And we have to understand that everyone in this life does not come from the same background or the same perspectives. And it's best that we put our best foot forward to understand ourselves. Because when we start to be aware and understand ourselves, we start to become free. Society does not want you to be free. Society does not want you to think for yourself. Society does not want you to have the ability to do for self, to think for self, to be able to walk this road and walk this path, knowing that you're able to be a free thinker. Society wants you under its chains. Society wants you to be a slave. We cannot be slaves to society, because if we are slaves to society, then we will be eaten alive by society. One minute society tells you to do this. You follow that path. You follow that journey. Another minute society tells you to do that. Then you follow this. You follow that. It's not helping. And we cannot be a slave to what society wants us to do. We have to be open minded and free thinking, especially in this time period today. So today, I'll be leaving you with this scripture, and I hope that this scripture can help you in your own personal life today. Proverbs 14:8. The wisdom of the prudent is to discern his way, but the folly of fools is deceiving. I want to thank you for watching today. Peace.